Hello there, welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello there, on the programme this evening.
The man who was the target of a shooting which killed 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Korbel is arrested in hospital by police while a gunman remains at large. We'll have the latest on the investigation.
We are receiving names, we are receiving information. People are telling us where they were and what areas they were in, which is absolutely fantastic.
A community still in shock, but eager to help. How local charities are helping to pass on information to the police.
We've had numerous pieces of information. Absolutely, people have come and seen me personally, and we've passed those information on to the police.
6 months since war began, Ukrainians across the region celebrate Ukrainian Independence Day as the fighting in their homeland continues.
The best curry in Europe. How this Ellesmere Port restaurant tickled the taste buds of one Hollywood superstar.
And a bank holiday is just around the corner. Is it too soon to look at the forecast? I don't think so, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. All the details coming up.
First, detectives investigating the murder of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Korbel in Liverpool have made an arrest. A 35-year-old man suspected of being the target of the shooting was out of prison on licence. He's been detained in hospital for breaching that licence and will be questioned by police.
Meanwhile, the gunman remains at large. Police today carried out raids after 3 fatal shootings in the city in the space of a week.
Tonight, we again have reporters live in Dovecot and at police headquarters. But first, let's catch up on the day's events with our correspondent, Rachel Townsend.
This picture of innocence remains on the minds of so many. 2 days on, the details of how Olivia Pratt-Korbel lost her life are no easier to comprehend. But today came a huge development. We now know this is the man who was chased by the gunman, the man who forced his way into Olivia's home, leading the shooter inside. Convicted burglar Joseph Nee had been released from prison on licence. He remains in hospital, now under arrest, and will be recalled to prison.
I hope that this shows again Merseyside's police's approach around this terrible and tragic crime, that it will actually take enforcement action against the target of that shooting. And it just reinforces that message to our communities that we will do everything possible to keep them safe at this terrible time.
And the community here want to do their bit too. Peter Mitchell runs this charity close to Olivia's home. He's invited people to come here and give information anonymously.
People want these perpetrators caught, and caught quickly and dealt with. And all we're doing is acting as a conduit to support the community to be able to do that. So they can feel free to come and pass on information, whether they think it's important or not, in the knowledge that we'll pass that on.
And have people come forward?
Absolutely. We've had numerous pieces of information. Absolutely, people have come and seen me personally, and we've passed those information on to the police.
The depth of emotion about what happened here shows no sign of waning. The front page of today's Liverpool Echo reflects the deep sense of upset and anger felt on these streets. And their message to those who may be holding information could not be clearer.
Putting that message out there on the front of the Echo gives it some weight and gives it some meaning, and hopefully it will get through, if not to the perpetrators themselves, it will tweak the conscience of somebody who knows something.
There is renewed determination to avoid the wall of silence seen 15 years ago in the Rhys Jones investigation. But the detective who led that inquiry believes it will be a challenge.
There's going to be a lot of work to do, and slowly but surely and painstakingly it will be undone. But it won't be done overnight, which is the case with the Rhys Jones. It wasn't done overnight, and we had to go on. It's going to take a lot of hard work.
Paula Ogunboro's son Eugene was shot and killed in Liverpool in 2003. She says the choice for people now is simple.
You don't have to go out in public and broadcast it. Pick up your phone. Pick up your phone. We are talking about a baby that has been killed. Pick up your phone. If you know anything, no one's going to know you phoned. Pick up the phone and tell the police what you know.
Male on the stairs to the left.
This morning, firearms teams from Merseyside Police raided numerous addresses across the city. At this one, a suspect was arrested over the death of Sam Rimmer, one of 3 recent murder victims.
We have had 3 tragic murders here in Merseyside in the past week, but each of them are progressing at pace now.
The loss of Olivia will be felt in this city forever. All people can do now is help police find her killer. Rachel Townsend, ITV News, Liverpool.
Well, our reporter Jennifer Buck is live at the scene in Dovecot for us tonight. Jennifer, what's the mood like there now?
Well, people have been laying flowers and tributes here at the scene all day. They're messages from a heartbroken community who are just trying to come to terms with the most horrific crime that happened right here on their doorstep. There's teddy bears and tributes from Olivia's classmates and her neighbours, but there's also messages from people who have never even met Olivia, but they're still feeling the impact of this crime. People I've been speaking to here on this street have described Olivia as cheeky and full of fun. And while there are still children playing around here tonight, riding their bikes, there's a real sense of community. But there's also a real sense of sadness because normally Olivia would have been playing out with them too. Now tonight there is still a police cordon around the scene and there's been forensic teams on site here today as they still look in the house and comb this street for any possible vital evidence.
Jennifer, thanks very much.
So let's go straight to Anna Joseph now, who's at Merseyside Police Headquarters again for us tonight. Anna, the police are nearly 2 full days into this investigation now. Where are they up to tonight?
Well, this has been an incredibly fast-moving investigation. We know officers here at Merseyside Police have been working around the clock to catch Olivia's killer. But they do need the public's help. They need information, and it seems that information is coming through. It's believed police hunting the gunman who shot the 9-year-old have been given the name of a suspect by several different sources. Now, this could be a really significant breakthrough in the case. We know a lot of the community live in fear of reprisal for speaking out, but some brave people have come forward, and the detective leading the investigation thinks that could make all the difference.
I'm delighted to say that the community has come forward with that. So we are receiving CCTV, we are receiving names, we are receiving information. People are telling us where they were and what areas they were in, which is absolutely fantastic.
And Anna, what more can you tell us about Joseph Nee?
Well, it's emerged that the intended target, Joseph Nee, who was shot in the fatal attack after forcing his way into Olivia's house, had recently been released from prison on licence. He's a convicted drug dealer and was jailed for 45 months in 2018 for a string of burglary offences, but was automatically released on licence last year. He was arrested this morning in hospital and will be questioned about Olivia's death. He'll then be recalled back to prison where he'll serve out the rest of his sentence. No doubt this will raise issues about letting prisoners out on early release. But for now, the focus really has to remain on that murder investigation. No motive for the attack has been identified, but detectives are examining the possibilities of a clash between rival drugs and firearm gangs or a retaliation linked to recent murders. One officer said they hadn't ruled out the theory of a postcode turf war in which a gang member may have strayed into the wrong part of town. But of course, for Olivia's heartbroken family and friends, no motive will explain the painful and needless loss of a young life.
OK, Anna Joseph, Merseyside Police Headquarters for us tonight. Thank you.
Well, earlier I was joined by Helen King, the former Assistant Chief Constable of Merseyside Police, who helped lead the force in the aftermath of the Rhys Jones killing. She says police will now be dealing with a range of leads.
There'll be some people who are just picking up rumours, who don't have direct first-hand information, and I know the police want to hear from them, whether that's through Crime Stoppers or going direct to the police. But then there are also those people who are much closer to the offenders, maybe all involved in criminality themselves, maybe family members, friends, partners, and they have invaluable information. And I think we can all imagine maybe that's a hard decision, But when a child's life is lost and other lives may be at risk, I think they need to come forward and they need to share what they know, or they may find themselves embroiled in criminal offences themselves and facing prosecution themselves.
Because we remember, don't we, from the Rhys Jones case, that ultimately it was the evidence of people living round where that gang and the murderer lived who convicted them. The forensics, the gun, the CCTV were just not enough, were they?
Well, in every offence of this magnitude, you want to pursue every line of inquiry you have. And that will include forensic evidence, it will include things like CCTV, automatic number plate recognition, it will include witness statements, and you really want to be able to bring that all together to be able to tell a compelling story, to demonstrate the truth to a jury so that they can have confidence in convicting.
Merseyside Police were recently commended for the way they deal with gangs and serious organised crime, but here we are again. Is there anything that's going to stop this?
Well, if you look back over time, Merseyside Police have had some real successes in reducing the number of firearms discharges, in dismantling organised crime groups. They have a great deal of expertise and experience in doing that. But I think what everyone has to recognise and not be naive about is that this is never just a one-off task to be done. As each organised crime group is dismantled, in time others come and take their place. So what we all need to support the police in doing, and that includes politicians, is allowing them to relentlessly and consistently do all the things that we know make a difference. And that includes having really strong local neighbourhood policing. It includes having the resources to reactively investigate these crimes. It includes having the very specialist resources that can proactively take out these crime groups. And it also means working with partners, with parents, with very young children, with schools, to prevent people being drawn into this type of criminality.
Helen King, thanks very much for giving us your experience and your views on it.
Thank you.
Let's move on to some more of the day's news now. And a 21-year-old man accused of murdering the cousin of Tyson Fury has made his first appearance in court. 31-year-old Rico Burton died after being stabbed outside a bar in the Goose Green area of Altrincham on Sunday morning. Liam O'Prey entered no plea and was remanded in custody.
A serving Greater Manchester police officer has been charged with rape. James Andrew Darnton, who's a temporary detective inspector within the Public Protection Governance Unit, is accused of raping a woman in 2009. The 41-year-old has been suspended and will appear in court next year.
Now, it's 6 months to the day since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, displacing millions of families, with many ending up here in the northwest.
Today is also Ukrainian Independence Day, usually a celebration of breaking away from Soviet rule 31 years ago.
Of course, this year it's an anniversary tinged with sadness, but services took place across our region today, which hope to bring a little taste of home for those sheltering thousands of miles away.
Tasha Kachiri reports.
Today, members of the Ukrainian community across the northwest have been celebrating their independence. Here in Cheetham Hill, hundreds of people have come out to enjoy the family fun day. Many here say it's important to get together and celebrate.
And I guess this concert can help every Ukrainian to gather together and also be more loud than usual, because it seems like everyone starts to forget about what's happening, but the war is not over.
While children dance and get stuck in with arts and crafts, I'm told that this is an act of defiance, as celebrations will be toned down in Ukraine for fear of Russian missile attacks.
It's bringing the community together. You know, they were mixing with their own people. They're listening to their own language. They're seeing their own cultures. We've started off with the prayer, and now we want to recognise that we are an independent country, and we are going to fight to whatever it takes to retain that.
This year's festivities comes exactly 6 months after Russia's invasion began. While the Ukrainians new to the northwest can feel safe here, their minds and hearts are fixed on what's happening at home.
Well, we want to go home when war is stopped, and here is the culture time for us, and time when we can be together. So that's smile and crying in the same time.
Meanwhile, in Liverpool at the Metropolitan Cathedral of Christ the King, Ukrainians and locals alike pray for peace and the people left behind. This day, for many, a day of reflection, a day of celebration and a day of defiance. Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Liverpool.
Yes, happy Independence Day to all our Ukrainian viewers. Now, with the bank holiday just around the corner, there are fresh warnings to stay safe on beaches and coastlines this weekend.
One family which has first-hand experience of the potential dangers of the sea are the Smiths from Birkenhead.
They were on holiday in Wales when 12-year-old Mabel was swept away by the tide and carried a quarter of a mile out to sea.
Today, the family returned to the beach to thank the RNLI crews who saved her life. Ian Lang was there for the emotional reunion.
This family from Birkenhead wanted to say a personal thank you to the team that came to their rescue after a happy day on Barmouth Beach turned into a nightmare and a near tragedy. All smiles now, but not so on that day when 12-year-old Mabel Smith was swept out to sea off Barmouth Beach where the family were holidaying. Her mum Milena called the Coast Guard.
Coast Guard rescue.
Coast Guard, I've got my 2 children are drowning. We're in Barmouth, right on the pier when it's going in, and I can't see them.
Today she recalled those dreadful moments.
So we were on the beach just watching them, and they were playing, having a great time, just up to their waist. And everything seemed normal until 1 second everything changed. We saw them terrified, screaming. They looked like they were fighting for their lives.
But what saved Mabel's life was RNLI educational advice her sister Elsie had learnt at school about a survival technique known as float to live. Today the sisters were reunited with the inshore lifeboat that made the rescue, and afterwards they spoke about the advice that had proved such a lifesaver.
When the waves came over, we couldn't walk through them because the current was so strong, and then one wave came and we couldn't stand up, and we were just screaming. It was terrifying. We tried to swim back, but we couldn't because the current was so strong.
What did Elsie shout at you?
She was just shouting like, float on your back, you've got to do it. And yeah, just being really reassuring to me.
And you appreciate that saved your life?
Oh God, yeah.
I shouted, lie on your back. You have to lie on your back, or you might drown. Mm-hmm.
Float to live is something that everybody should know when they go to the beach?
Yeah, of course, because it saved me and my sister's life.
As for the crew, they were just happy that the float to live advice had saved a young girl's life.
It's outstanding to see this advice work, and not only in flat, calm conditions. This was heavy surf, a rough day with a strong outgoing current and breaking waves of 4 to 6 foot that were overwhelming the boat. And to see in the distance a small shadow floating on her back over the waves, not being overcome by the conditions, was extraordinary.
But we actually saw this in force 4-5 conditions, strong outgoing tide. Where she was, nobody could have swam in those conditions. The current's too strong, but she was able to float there long enough for us to get there.
All in all, a very happy family saying a very big thank you and highlighting a water safety message that's proved it's a lifesaver. Ian Lang, ITV News, Barmouth.
Incredible, yeah. Simple but really important advice. Well done, Elsie. Right, on to sport now. And is Tyson Fury coming out of retirement, Chris?
This kind of reminds me when he was almost knocked out by Deontay Wilder, but then dragged himself back up off the canvas. And Tyson Fury is ready for another comeback, as long as he gets a small matter of £500 million. The WBC heavyweight world champion, who retired a fortnight ago, has demanded £500 million for a unification fight with Alexander Usyk, who defended the other 3 belts against Anthony Joshua last weekend.
Hi guys, to all these suitors out there who want to make the fight, I'm going to give you all 7 days till the 1st of September to come up with the money. If not, thank you very much, it's been a blast.
Well, another of our clubs to drop out of the League Cup last night was Preston North End, but they're still inspiring young fans. 2 of their star players have transferred their skills on the pitch to the kitchen to teach them the importance of healthy eating, as Claire Hannah's been finding out.
From
From the pitch to the pizza oven, Preston North End's Brad Potts and Ben Woodburn taking a couple of hours away from training for a special workshop at Deepdale, where they were helping cook pizzas, talking healthy food and taking part in a little Q&A session.
Some really good questions, actually, some that made me think, and asking about my daily routine, favourite moments, what I did in lockdown. So yeah, it was really good.
I think when I was younger I probably didn't really have that, so it's good that we can pass that on to the kids, and hopefully they can learn from it. I think it's good to have a good balanced diet and getting good foods into you, especially if you want to try and play sport yourselves.
We got a big insight of what the footballers do and stuff, and like they do stuff really specifically. It's like made me think to be more organised and stuff.
We were on a budget, we had £15 to spend, and we got stuff to make some pizzas.
This isn't just about the pizzas though. It's part of a bigger initiative for 15 to 17-year-olds which tackles other issues, including mental well-being and boosting confidence. And it really shows how getting the players involved can make a huge difference.
The young people listen a million times more than they listen to me when the players come in. I think it's a different face, it's somebody who they look up to. It's that perfect example of, oh my gosh, I could be that person, I could do what they're doing. And it's just showing them that actually the barrier between somebody famous and somebody not is really minimal, because they're just normal, average people at the end of the day.
Well, there was nothing normal or average about this goal from Brad in Preston's win against Luton this month, though, so we couldn't let him go without asking about it.
Obviously, I've scored a few all right ones, but I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't know how I'm going to top that one. I think if I headed it, I probably should have, but I don't think it would have went in the net. So, yeah, I'm just delighted with how it worked out.
North End fans just as delighted with it too, and like them, Brad is hoping for more this season.
I think with the performances already this season, we've set the benchmark, and we want to be finishing higher than we have done in the past and getting in and around the playoffs to give yourself a good chance of the club progressing on.
And that would be the real topping on the pizza. Claire Hannah, ITV News.
But after cooking all that pizza, did Brad Potts do the dishes? That's what I want to know.
Now, not that we're obsessed with food, Chris. Thank you very much for that. But where would you go to find the best Indian curry in Europe? London? Possibly Paris? Maybe Madrid? Well, think again.
Yeah, because according to Hollywood superstar Ryan Reynolds, no less, that title actually belongs to the Light of India restaurant in Ellesmere Port.
Yeah, the family-run business that's been serving the community for more than 40 years were left gobsmacked after the actor left the glowing review on his Instagram page.
We sent Zoe Muldoon to put his recommendation to the test.
Hello, Light of India. Shah speaking. How may I help?
The phone's been ringing off the hook, and orders are through the roof at this Cheshire restaurant, fast becoming the hottest place in town. Ever since Hollywood star Ryan Reynolds told his 44 million Instagram followers that Light of India in Ellesmere Port had the best food in Europe, customers old and new have been desperate to get a taste. It's left the ramen family flabbergasted.
We're getting bookings left, right and centre. It's just increased, and it's great because we've just come from a back end of a pandemic. It's like a godsend to us. It's been amazing.
What was going through your head when you saw Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood movie star who's got 40 million Instagram followers, posted about your restaurant?
Just couldn't believe it at the time. I thought it was... I honestly couldn't believe it.
That's the real reason. Sorry.
Ryan Reynolds had been 20 miles away in Wrexham ahead of a new documentary charting his first season in charge of the football club. And it seems the Deadpool star had worked up an appetite on Saturday after his team beat Maidstone United 5-0. But the Ramans don't know whether he came into the restaurant or ordered a takeaway.
The conclusion was, I think that he ordered a takeaway, or one of his team members or staff members got a takeaway for him.
You don't know what he ordered, so you don't know what he ate. What do you think he would have gone for, though?
Well, Ryan seems like he can't handle the spices, so I think he would have gone for something really mild. I think he would have gone for a chicken korma.
The Light of India on Whitby Road is your usual high street, family-run, traditional Indian restaurant. Not really the sort of place where you might spot a Hollywood A-lister. So for some people, serving Ryan Reynolds would be a pretty memorable experience.
but seemingly not for restaurant owner Abda.
So who's Ryan Reynolds? I don't even know who he is.
But then when you looked him up, you recognised him
Yeah,
from his
and I
movies.
thought, oh yeah, that's who he is.
So how does it feel having him give your food that accolade, the best Indian food in Europe?
I'm actually gobsmacked. Yeah. Cheers, mate.
The Rahmans say Ryan is welcome back to the light of India any time. There might even be a new dish on the menu.
Might just dedicate a dish to him, like a Deadpool masala. Someone came up with a funny one, which was a birayan, something like that. Yeah, but I preferred my Deadpool masala.
Already treasured by locals, now this restaurant's currying favour with Hollywood actors. The invitation's there for Ryan Reynolds to come back for seconds. Zoe Muldoon, ITV News, Ellesmere Port.
Brilliant.
So if you want a table in January, you better ring tonight.
Yeah, I want to find out what he had. Right.
Now the weather. Here's Emma.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, very good evening to you. Hope you've had a super day. Got some moody shots from around the region today. We had a frontal system crossing west to east. It had a few little waves on it, which gave heavier downpours in places. And actually, Hugo here didn't care what the weather was going to do. He was always going to get wet, no matter what, plodging away in the sea there. And as we move forward, things do become less humid now, overnight tonight into tomorrow, and everything's settling down nicely for the bank holiday weekend. Just maybe a tiny fly in the ointment, and I'll show you why. So today, here's the frontal system that pushed through. Behind it, a bit of a respite there, but this very weak occlusion may give 1 or 2 showers on Friday before the high pressure really begins to kick in and dominate, keeping these frontal systems to the north well at bay. They're trying to topple around it, but they really don't make any headway. I think it's just going to warm up very nicely and become very settled as we head towards Saturday, and especially Sunday, when it should be a little bit warmer. Rewinding though to the next few hours, and still some wet weather around, as you can see, showery outbreaks of rain continuing, but the winds beginning to ease down and everything actually drying up towards the second part of the night. Temperatures not falling too far at all, as you can see here, but we're starting to feel a fresher feel, and certainly tomorrow night will feel a lot fresher than it has been of late. Here are your sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow. Sun's up at 6:06, and first thing, it could still be a little bit cloudy, but quickly this clears away. You can see the light green colours opening up, and that indicates a lot of sunshine, so it'll be a lot drier than today, a lot sunnier than today, and even though temperatures will be a couple of degrees down on today's values, it's actually just going to feel a lot better on the whole. After that, slight dip in temperatures on Friday, 1 or 2 showers, but then things start to hot up again and begin to get rather settled and pleasant. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
That is good news. Thank you, Emma. Well, just before we go, this is the scene right now in Dovecot, where tribute is still being left to Olivia from a community still very much in shock.
The ITV News that follows us will bring you much more on that story, and we'll have all the latest on our late bulletin after news at 10. For now, from all the team here, a very good night.
Good night.